Hello, everyone, and welcome to the April 3rd Project Jupyter IPython developers call. We're following an agenda on Dropbox paper. I will post a link to that into the chat in just a moment, but we'll get started with updates on IPython. Thomas, I think these are your notes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think all of the notes in there might be me, so I hope everybody's happy with the sound of my voice. Yeah, so I put out IPython 5.6 and 6.3 yesterday, which, there's nothing super exciting in either release, I don't think. It's just kind of a roll-up of various bug fixes. And we've discovered today that 6.3 makes a Jedi completion bug more obvious where certain completions aren't showing up. That just needs a new release of Jedi to fix, but that's outside our direct powers. So I've appealed to the person whose power it's in to release Jedi again. And then the master branch is aiming for IPython 7 now, so there's a few pull requests that are landing that have been waiting around until we split version 7 off from the 6.x branch. We've already dropped support for Python 3.3. That pull request already landed. So the minimum version in master is now 3.4. And I've done a refactoring of the input processing machinery that I mentioned in a previous meeting that hopefully will go in. That will be the sort of the big breaking change that justifies doing 7.0. Anybody want to chime in anything on IPython, or shall I go straight ahead into Notebook? Nope. Okay. Notebook, we're also aiming to do a bug fix release and then push the master branch to aim for the next major version. 5.5 will be the next Notebook release. It's been, I think, a little while since 5.4 was out, so there's just various things that have been fixed, but we're waiting to get to people. So we're just going through the remaining list, and I've just clicked merge on a couple of things. That list has just got a bit shorter. And then after 5.5, the plan will be to make master point to 6.0. So that will drop Python 2 support, and it will hopefully also tie in with the work I'm doing on kernel management and kernel discovery and all of this stuff that is a bit of a big task that I'm having some trouble sort of figuring out where all the bits need to end up. But yeah, I've put another note in about that later, so I'll let somebody else talk for a bit.
Okay. Thanks, Thomas. Looks like if there are no updates on Jupyter Lab widgets or services, we'll move on to Jupyter Hub. Looks like, Carol, you have some notes in there. Anything you want to highlight?
Pretty much, we're busy doing development on Jupyter Hub 0.9, and then also some stability work and reliability work for Binder. And UV had a successful launch on edX, which we're very happy about. And I don't think I have anything else. Does Min have anything else? No. Okay, so we're good.
Okay. Sounds good. And I think we're back to Thomas on some miscellaneous updates.
Yeah, so that was the thing I mentioned under Notebook that I've been trying for a while to figure out a system for making sort of kernel discovery more extensible. So the current kernel spec system is a bit inflexible, a bit confusing, and a bit sort of Conda comes in and does their Conda kernels thing, which kind of, it's useful if you're using Conda, but it also kind of, it makes it harder to understand like how all of what's going on and where kernels come from, because they come from one place if you've got MB Conda kernels and another place if you don't, and it doesn't affect all of the things. Like I don't think it affects NB convert. So I'm working on trying to make a more sort of extensible system where different kernel providers can say, these are the kernels that I know about. And I tried that for a while, sort of with APIs inside Jupyter client. But yeah, it's too big a thing to hold in my head all at once. So my latest plan is that I've split it out into 2 separate projects, both of which are actually based on Jupyter client. But the idea is there will another splitting, like I'll take that Git history and then sort of selectively remove files that aren't useful for those bits. So Jupyter protocol will define what the different messages are and like sending and receiving them, and Jupyter kernel management will deal with launching kernels, defining kernel types, all of the bits that don't need to be. So Jupyter protocol will be used by both the kernel and the client, and Jupyter kernel management should only be needed by the client, hopefully. And they're still a long way off actually being usable. Like I'm still just kind of experimenting with those. I thought I'd just mention that that's where I'm trying to take development of that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Thomas. So no news this week on JupyterCon. We do hope to have some announcements for next week. So in the meantime, please continue saving that onto your calendar, August 21st through the 25th. And now we'll move into our conferences, our other conferences and workshops. If you have events that you hear about that may be of interest to the community or to other people on this call, please add those here, including any call for proposals or speaking opportunities that you may come across. Please continue to share those. This past weekend we had an event in Atlanta. We had Jupyter Day, and that I'll echo Carol's sentiments on the agenda. A huge thank you to the organizers, Tony Fast, Nick Bolwig, and Luke. What's Luke's last name, Nick?
Darns.
Thank you to all of you. So any highlights you want to share, Nick?
It was a good event. I mean, it's great to run your second event. We were lucky to have the same space we had last time, so that took a lot of the stress away. We already knew how to work with the folks and everything like that. If you're going to run an event, it's really good to have that experience. I would say we had a pretty heavy focus on a lot of machine learning techniques, which is really cool. It's really beautiful to watch, especially younger presenters. We had a first time with someone that had never given a talk before in front of more than their cohort, and that was amazing, and she did great. It's really cool watching people explain how they encounter these techniques in a visual fashion. So that was really quite wonderful. I would say probably the from a showmanship point of view, the fellow's name is Stephen Welch, and his was amazing. He basically recreated all of the underlying research for autonomous vision-based driving. And he did it in one notebook, and it was beautiful, and it was animated, and I haven't seen anything explained that well before. But unfortunately, there's a bunch of proprietary data in there, so that talk is not available yet off the site. My talk is not available because it's broken, but otherwise we just have about all of them up there, and that's going really well. Paco stuff, obviously very cool. Anybody that works in a corporate environment or that otherwise has to use Atlassian stuff, Peter Parente showed us some really great tools, and among them is NB Conflux, I believe, and that lets you hit, one button and it shoots your notebook up to Confluence so that your people that don't use notebooks can see your stuff. And that's already running against my Confluence, so it's making me happy, and I think it makes other people happy. So great events before and after, had some good turnouts there and some really good discussions and conversations and getting to know. And, I think we're very possibly going to have another one here in the Southeast, probably not Atlanta, probably up in the Carolinas, but, kind of fomenting that community. So super big thanks for the coffee in the afternoon there, Project Jupyter. That was really appreciated, and the rest of our sponsors were great too. So yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. It's great.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that update, Nick. So we're pretty much at the end of the agenda, but before we move on, I did want to remind you to list any releases that may happen, any releases that happened last week, any happening this week, and any that you expect to happen next week at the very bottom of the agenda. And also if there's any action items or things that you'd like to request help with from anyone on this call or from the community, please add those to the action items list. And I will close the agenda with just one more chance for anyone to share anything that wasn't covered in the sections above. Does anyone have anything else to share before we sign off?
I just wanted to call out UV's new extension, the resource management NB extension thing that lets you know how much memory you're using, how much memory all of your kernels are using. It's cool. It's really cool. It's up on the mailing list, and I assume you did it as part of a larger, huge UV scale plan to dominate the universe. But it's actually really awesome just to have that on your desktop. Also already installed on my desktop. So that's good. I think I forgot what it's called. It's like Res or something like NB Res Man, or I don't know. Check it out.
NB Res Use, I think.
I first read NB Reuse and I was like, oh, someone finally figured it out. Oh, great, we're awesome. Nope, it's Res Use. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else that wasn't on the agenda anyone wants to share? Okay. I think we're good then. Good to see everyone. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Bye.
Hey, everybody.